What's up YouTube, Loy here again. I'm a climber based out of Montreal, Quebec, and today I'm going to be showing you the training I did to go from V6 to V14 finger strength in just 1 year. So yes, I basically went from never hangboarding to doing things like this in a little over a year just by doing this 30-minute warm-up. Now, is it really V14 strength? Well, I've talked to a lot of V14 climbers and they all think that I'm way too strong for the level that I'm climbing at, especially because I outperform them on almost every single training exercise. In any case, I one-arm pull up as much as Yannick Floe, and he's just a little bit strong. Now, yes, he's doing 3 more pounds than me, but I don't think 3 pounds is the difference of 7 V grades. So anyways, today I'm gonna walk you through the exact 30-minute warm-up that I do before every single climbing session. I only do this about 4 times a week, so it's really not that much. Now, it's important to note that this training isn't the only thing that I'm doing. I'm doing at least 40 minutes of stretching before I do my warm-up, and then after that, I'm climbing for at least 2 to 3 hours, really focused. And then on top of all of that, my nutrition and sleep were really on point. So my recovery was really good. So if your sleep or your nutrition isn't working, this might be too much load for you. And it's always about maximizing what you can actually give to your training. And the more rest and recovery that you have, the more training that you can actually do and use to improve. The way that I developed this warm-up is really based on my powerlifting history, as well as just sports science in general. It's a very muscle-based warm-up. A lot of climbers that I've seen tend to rely a lot on hanging on their skeleton and on their connective tissue. And while that can be really good for climbing, I think that it's not the most optimal way to get strong in climbing. I think unless your genetics are top tier, relying on your tendons and ligaments not gonna give you a long and healthy climbing career. So my first emphasis in my warm-up is warming up my shoulders. Right now you can just see me hanging. I do about 30-second dead hang, and I go between dead hangs and being a little more active, swinging around maybe. And this just gets the blood flowing through my shoulders at like the very start. I also do some arm circles and just try to wiggle my arms around just to get the blood flowing. That's really it. This first part's super simple. Next, here I'm just going to the hangboard and I'm doing some little mono hangs. I find that it really allows for each individual finger to warm up on itself. Here, you're not really warming up the forearm flexor muscles. It's more so you're warming up the connective tissue within each finger, which is really important. I find that there's 3 big stages of warm up for your fingers. There's the actual warm up of the muscle, the thing that's producing force through your fingers, but you also have to warm up your connective tissue. And then on top of that, there's the speed aspect where you have to warm up how fast your muscles are actually contracting. And if you leave out one of those components, you can find that your climbing won't be as fluid and concise together. I also like to say that my warm-up is very feel-based. Obviously, I'm doing this 4 times a week and I can't max out every single day. For the warm-up part, I just take it to the level of where I feel warm enough. If I need to spend more time warming up my fingers or warming up my shoulders, I will take that time. There's really no rush. Here, I'm just doing a proper shoulder stability warm-up. The other one was just getting some blood flowing, and now I'm using 3-finger drag and using only the stabilizing muscles in my shoulder to rotate my body. This is really important because I find that when I'm coaching other people, a lot of people will actually rotate their body using their wrist instead of their shoulder. And of course, this is not very useful, especially when we're trying to do some one-arm hangs. So we really need to emphasize the stability in the shoulder. After this, I'm gonna load the shoulder even more. So here I have 28 pounds and I'm just gonna go from a dead hang for 5 seconds to an active hang for 5 seconds. I find this really helps load the shoulder for one-arm pull-up positions. And if I don't do this, I find that I'm really weak in this position. This is an exercise that is so important for me. It helped rehab my shoulder injury and it just built crazy bulletproof strength through my shoulders. Here I just do some pull-ups, get the blood flowing through the lats and through the whole body, through the shoulders, through the chest. chest. And then because I'm quite strong, I actually warm up with one arm pull-ups, which is about 80% of my 1 rep max. Obviously, not everyone can do this, so I would definitely suggest to do either a loaded 2 arm pull-up or use bands. It's mostly about getting the motion pattern into your system than it is about actually performing like a 1 arm. Just doing a very little bit is way better than just doing nothing. A lot of people think that they have to do a lot and then they never get around to doing it because they don't have the time to do it. But if you just do a little bit every single time, that adds up over time and you get way stronger. So it's so useful to just add this into your warm-up. Now I'm gonna start warming up on the hangboard. I do 3 stages of warm-ups. On the Beastmaker 2000, I used the big edges. I do 10 seconds on 3-finger drag, and then back to back, I do 10 seconds on 4-finger half crimp, and then I reverse that and do 10 seconds 4-finger half crimp on the big edge, and then 10 seconds 3-finger drag. I also do my core warm up here, which was the front lever that you just saw. Obviously, not everyone can do a front lever, so doing an L sit would be a good variation, or just doing some leg raises could also activate your core. Just doing that little bit will add up over time and really help you. Core activation is really important for climbing, and most people do not do this. So adding that into your warm-up, just quick and dirty, is really useful. And then I repeat the exact same sequence on the 15mm edge. So when I first started, the 15mm edges with 2 hands was really hard, and I found it really difficult to especially do 3-finger drag on them. And that's completely fine. If that's your maximum effort, then place more emphasis on the bigger edge size and then do the 2 max efforts on the hardest level that you can do. 15mm for me was the hardest I could do for quite a while. It's all about finding your own limits and coaching yourself. You need to be able to load exactly what you want. And if you want help with that, you can contact me. I am open to private coaching. So you can just shoot me a message on Instagram and I can help you out with that if you really need help. But all the information is free, so I'm trying to give it to you. After I do all my 2 arm edge hangs, my fingers are warm enough to start 1 arm hanging. And because my shoulder and bicep are all warm, I can confidently go into this knowing that I won't injure myself. At this point in my climbing, the Beastmaker middle edge 22mm is standard for me. This is actually additional warm up. I'm actually not training yet, so I'll do a couple hangs on the middle edge with my left and right arm, and I'll just feel it out and see how I feel on that day. There are days where I can't hang at all, but then my peak days are obviously like plus 40 pounds, so you really have to regulate your warm-up for how you're feeling on that day. If you're not feeling good, don't force it, because then you'll hurt yourself. After doing that, I get into the real finger strength gaining exercise. I actually got this idea from Ned Healy, he's the founder of Beastmaker, and I drew some inspiration from Dave McLeod as well. Well, the exercise is based off of Dr. Tyler Nelson's from Camp for Human Performance on recruitment pulls. In an ideal scenario, you would completely isolate the forearm muscle, and therefore there's no way to cheat the exercise. I find that for me, I'm just too lazy to actually set any of that up. There's way too much setup in it, and if it's too hard to do, then I'm not gonna do it, right? So I found this quick and dirty way of doing it that gets most of the benefits if you are really precise in how you're performing the exercise. Because in this case, you can cheat the exercise if you want to cheat the exercise. But training is supposed to be hard. You're not supposed to make it easy. Let the making it easy stay on the wall. Here, you want to really force yourself to crunch those muscles. Here, you're seeing me set up with extra weight because I'll lift off the ground if I don't. So the whole point is that you're making yourself not be able to lift off the ground. You're gonna grab the edge in almost a drag manner, 4 fingers, and you're gonna relax your shoulder completely all the way. If you engage your shoulder, you're gonna be engaging a lot of your bicep, shoulder, and connective tissue, and that's gonna put less emphasis on your forearm flexor muscles. The cue that most people use for this exercise is curl your fingers, because this is what's happening to your muscle, and your muscle is contracting, and that's what's making your fingers curl. But I would say that sometimes people don't necessarily make the connection between the muscle and the fingers, so I would want you to actually think about this forearm muscle shortening, like you're actually flexing it, and you'll realize that's the mind muscle connection that you need to create. Don't forget, if you're trying this for the first time, you will probably not be able to feel it, and that's completely normal. Most climbers like to just hang on their skin and on their tendons, and there's a time and place for all of that. But in training, we're trying to get stronger, and the way to get stronger is to make your muscle stronger. So the only way we're gonna be able to get stronger is by actually focusing and training on the muscle. So if you want to build strength, you do low repetitions, high intensity. And so this is very low repetitions. This is basically you're performing 2 1-rep maxes, and I want you to hit that RPE like 10. That means the rate of perceived exertion. You should be feeling like you're trying as hard as you possibly can. And the added benefit of doing this is that you're also training your brain to try really, really hard. It's something that doesn't just come naturally. You actually have to train to like turn on that try hard mode. So this is a really good time to practice trying really, really hard. After that, my fingers are completely 100% warm, and I can crank as hard as I want on any hold and know that I'm not gonna injure myself. So now I'm on the second phase of my warm-up, which is the contact strength part of it, which is more accurately called a rate of force development. It's how fast your muscles can achieve that peak force. If you have really slow rate of force development, then you'll find that you'll jump to a hold and you won't be able to hold on to it. But if you have really fast, quick twitching muscles, you'll realize it, you just like stick to the holds. That's exactly what you want to train. So here I'm just doing it for my bigger muscle groups. I'm doing explosive pull-ups, explosive one arms, and then I'll go to the campus board. Here at Cafe Bloc, they have a really good campus board setup, which is lacking in a lot of gyms in Montreal. So I just start on the biggest rung, which I believe is about 30 millimeters. And I just, with my legs down, one arm on a rung, and I jump up to a medium height. I do that on the other side, and then I switch back and I jump to a max dead point. So as far as I can. There are 2 ways to make this exercise harder. It's either you jump further or you jump to a smaller hold. So the smaller the hold, the higher the rate of force development that is needed to catch the hold. So here you can see me, I'm going down the rung sizes. So I went from 30, I believe it's probably 22, and then the last one is a 18 millimeter, I believe. By the time I'm done on 18 millimeter, I know I'm pretty warm. After this, I'm completely warm, and usually if I'm feeling good, I go directly onto a kilter board project session. If I didn't feel good, then I'll probably do a little bit of volume on kilter, so maybe 2 grades below my max, and then I would grind some slab climbing. This is basically what I did 4 times a week for a whole year, and I progressed like crazy. So I hope this really helped you. If you are interested in private coaching, you can DM me on Instagram and we can have a little chat and see if we're a good fit. If not, I hope this really helped you, and I hope to see you next week. Bye.